Your child walked past a woman at the grocery store 2 years ago. 1 glance. 30 seconds. And last week, out of nowhere, they pointed at a stranger across the street and said, "That's the lady with the red bag from the store." You had no idea what they were talking about. But they remembered her perfectly. That same child cannot remember to bring their homework folder home every single day. A folder that lives in the same spot in their backpack. That they pack themselves. That you remind them about every morning before school. It feels maddening. It can feel personal. Like your child is choosing not to remember the things that matter to adults. But here is what no one tells you. Your child is not forgetting their homework because they are careless. They are forgetting it because their brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. And the stranger? They remember her for exactly the same reason. To understand why, you need to understand something about the human brain that most adults have completely forgotten about their own childhoods. Your brain does not treat all information equally. It never has. And your child's brain especially does not. The brain is not a filing cabinet where you can drop in any piece of information and expect to find it later. The brain is closer to a survival machine. It pays deep, automatic attention to things that feel new, unpredictable, or emotionally charged. And it treats familiar, routine, low-stakes information as something close to noise. This is not a flaw. This is evolution. For hundreds of thousands of years, the human brain evolved in environments where strangers were genuinely important. A new face meant possible danger. Possible alliance. Possible competition. A new face triggered the amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm system, which immediately flagged that person as worth remembering. The brain released norepinephrine and cortisol in small doses. Attention sharpened. The image locked in. A homework folder? The folder is not new. It is not unpredictable. It carries no emotional charge. The brain has seen it 100 times. The brain has quietly categorized it as safe, routine, irrelevant to survival, and therefore not worth the energy of deep encoding. Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris, a pediatrician and researcher who has spent years studying how early environments shape brain development, has described the child's brain as essentially a threat detection and novelty-seeking organ in its early years. It is built to notice what is different, what is alive, what moves, what might matter for survival, long before it is built to manage schedules and deadlines. And here is where it gets genuinely strange. Neuroscientists have known for decades that memory is not one thing. It is not a single system stored in one place. It is actually a collection of different systems, each running on different circuits in the brain, each with its own rules about what gets saved and what gets lost. The system most people think of when they think about memory is called declarative memory. This is the system for facts, events, people, and experiences. It is handled by the hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure deep in the brain that acts like a librarian, deciding what experiences are worth writing into long-term storage. But there is another system. Procedural memory, sometimes called habit memory, handles automatic routines. Brushing your teeth. Tying your shoes. Walking to the same desk every day and putting the same folder in the same bag. Here is the catch. Procedural memory requires repetition over long periods of time before a routine becomes truly automatic. And the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that would normally manage and remind you to execute a routine, is the slowest developing region in the entire brain. It does not finish developing until your mid-20s. Your child is asking their not yet built prefrontal cortex to manage a routine that their brain has not yet deeply automatized. And at the same time, their hippocampus is doing something extraordinary. It is actively and efficiently recording the things that feel novel and emotionally vivid, exactly as it was designed to do. The stranger with the red bag was novel. The grocery store was a slightly different environment. The woman's face was unfamiliar. The child's brain lit up. The memory encoded. The homework folder was the same object it was yesterday and the day before. No novelty. No emotional charge. No signal to the hippocampus that this was worth a second look. Dr. Patricia Bauer, a developmental psychologist at Emory University, has studied children's memory extensively. Her research shows that children's episodic memory, the memory for specific events and experiences, is actually surprisingly strong for things that are emotionally meaningful or contextually rich. What children struggle with is source monitoring and prospective memory. Prospective memory is the ability to remember to do something in the future. It is the most executive function-dependent form of memory that exists. And executive function runs almost entirely through the prefrontal cortex. In other words, your child's brain is very good at the type of memory that ancient humans needed most. And very underdeveloped in exactly the type of memory that modern schooling demands most. This is not an accident of individual biology. It is a structural feature of childhood development. And it has enormous implications for how you talk to your child about forgetting. When you tell a child they forgot something because they were not paying attention, you are technically correct. But the real question is what their brain was paying attention to instead. And the answer is almost always something that felt more alive, more uncertain, more socially or emotionally meaningful than a folder. Think about the last time you forgot something important. A meeting. An anniversary. An errand you absolutely meant to run. Now think about what you did remember from that same day. You probably remember the conversation that surprised you. The moment that made you laugh unexpectedly. The detail that caught you off guard. Your brain made those same calculations. It just does it now with a prefrontal cortex that can partially override the system and build artificial reminders, apps, calendars, sticky notes, systems your child cannot yet build for themselves. Dr. Adele Diamond, a developmental cognitive neuroscientist at the University of British Columbia, has dedicated decades of research to studying executive function in children. Her work shows that executive functions, including working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibitory control, are the foundation of almost everything schools ask children to do. And they are among the very last cognitive skills to fully mature. Diamond's research has also shown something critically important for parents. Executive functions are not fixed. They grow. They can be strengthened through the right kinds of play, movement, and low-stress environments. They are stunted by chronic stress, pressure, and shame. Which means this. Every time a child is made to feel stupid or careless for forgetting their homework, the stress that produces is actively working against the very brain development that would eventually solve the problem. The child who cannot remember their folder is not giving you evidence of a failing mind. They are giving you evidence of a developing one. And what about the stranger? That memory is evidence of something beautiful. It means your child's brain is still wide open. Still recording the world with intensity. Still treating each new face as potentially important. There is something adults quietly lose over time, that raw registering of novelty, that electric quality of paying attention to what is alive and different in the world around you. Research by Dr. Celeste Kidd at the University of California, Berkeley, on children's attention and curiosity suggests that children are not distracted in random ways. They are following a very precise internal signal, one that draws them toward information that is genuinely uncertain, that falls just outside what they already know. Their brains are calibrated to learn from novelty. They are information foraging machines, and they are exceptionally good at it. The homework folder is not novel. It has already been learned. So the brain moves on. There are things you can do with this knowledge. External reminders work far better than internal ones for children, not because your child is lazy, but because their internal reminder system is still under construction. A physical checklist on the door. A visual cue at eye level. A phone alarm with their own voice recorded on it. These external structures are doing the job of the prefrontal cortex that has not grown in yet. Routines anchored to sensory cues work better than verbal reminders. The feel of a specific hook on the wall. The sight of the bag in a specific spot by the front door. These sensory anchors engage different memory systems, systems that are already online and functional. Emotional meaning helps encoding. This is not about punishing forgetting. It is about helping your child connect the folder to something that matters to them personally, something with a story, something with a feeling attached. And time. Mostly time. The brain that cannot remember a homework folder at age 7 will, with the right environment and the right support, be a brain that can eventually manage extraordinarily complex responsibilities. The trajectory is long. The development is real. Your child remembered a stranger they met for 30 seconds 2 years ago. Hold on to that. That is not a child with a bad memory. That is a child with a brain that is still paying full, vivid, undivided attention to the world. The homework folder will come. But the ability to be that present? That alive to what is new? That tends to fade. And it is worth knowing, while your child still has it, exactly how remarkable it really is.